Parental discretion advised.
This civilian talk. If you listen to that bullshit, that ain't even smart. Have you spewing out fake news? Get you ripped apart. But this Mr. P.I. and this civilian talk. Hey.
Yo, it's your boy, Mr. P. Coming straight at you. Bring you that civilian talk. Please wake up American news, because if we don't wake up today, we may not have an America to wake up to tomorrow. You feel me? Today, we got the World Economic Forum calling for a new world order. What the globalists are planning at Davos. Critics blast Klaus Schwab in the World Economic Forum for trying to master the future with global enslavement agenda. Big banks and the IMF are planning to steal your money. Did you know that? Got anti-vaxxer creators of Dilbert comes out and admits that the vaccine skeptics were right to not trust the jab. Elon Musk says he felt like he was dying when he took his COVID booster. We got it's the season of strokes. Shit is fucking crazy, bro. Don't move your motherfucking switch. Trust me. Nancy Pelosi held an exorcism at her San Francisco mansion trying to banish evil spirits. You are the evil spirit, bitch. But we got some Joe's Been Hiding news. They done found a fourth set of classified documents at Joe's Been Hiding motherfucking, one of his properties. A fourth set. They went to Trump crib, found a whole bunch in one place, didn't find no more, but then they wanted to lock him up. And now Joe has had classified documents show up everywhere. And turns out that this, a set of those classified documents, the second set that went to his office in D.C., actually made a stop in Chinatown before they made it over to Joe's office. We got that and so much more coming up straight at you. You know what I'm saying? Don't move your motherfucking switch. It's going to be crazy. It's really a new world order, COVID, and political. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to learn something today, please don't move your motherfucking switch. And understand that I will be using some profanity because, speaking about these events really has me on the pissed off side. So, I hope you don't deprive yourself of learning something today due to the fact of my language. And you already know, I'll be back on the other side. Don't move your motherfucking switch. It's your boy.
Today's episode was brought to you by Civilian Talk Radio.
Y'all want to know what a real anti-vaxxer is? It's not someone who doesn't take the shot or does take the shot or keeps up with all the shots. This is the definition of an anti-vaxxer.
Calling people anti-vaxxers, some of whom were vaccinated, has had an impact at all on vaccine take-up in parts of the territory?
No, and I'll repeat it. If you are anti-mandate, you are absolutely anti-vax. I don't care what your personal vaccination status is. If you support, champion, give a green light, give comfort to, support anybody who argues against the vaccine, you are an anti-vaxxer. Absolutely. Your personal vaccination status is utterly irrelevant. If you campaign against the mandate, if you campaign against people being vaccinated in vulnerable settings, teachers in classrooms, I'll be really clear, at that point in time, people were actually supporting the idea of a teacher being unvaccinated in a remote community classroom with kids who cannot be vaccinated. I reject that utterly, and I still reject it. And if you are out there in any way, shape or form campaigning against this mandate, you are absolutely anti-vax. If you say pro-persuasion, stuff it, shove it. We are absolutely going to make sure as many Territorians as possible are vaccinated. That is our best protection against this thing. And if you look at the Doherty modelling that's only come out since, that says if you double dose 80 in remote communities, 5 and up, I think you'll see our vaccine mandate is absolutely crucial to protecting lives, particularly Aboriginal lives. And I will never back away from supporting vaccines. And anyone out there who comes for the mandate, you are anti-vax.
You see? has nothing to do with your vaccinated status. You'll get it one day. Yeah, we back. You know what I'm saying? What's happening, folks? I'm so happy to be here with you, man. I'm so happy to be in your presence. Really appreciate y'all being here so y'all can learn something. There's a lot going on in the world right now, and today's episode, if you're not already aware of what's going on, will challenge your intellect and it will challenge your idea of what you think society looks like. It's a lot going on. You know, you got between the New World Order, and a lot of people is not taking full understanding of what the New World Order is, the Great Reset. People are not taking full advantage of the knowledge that I'm producing and bringing to the table for you guys to wake yourselves up. Now, I understand, you know, everybody's not, savvy politically. Or I know a lot of people don't read books. I know a lot of people don't really, you know, put a lot of stock into the things I put stock into, which is basically the next level for humanity, not just for me. You know, I try to allow people to understand that this is a global event. There is a mass awakening going on, you know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of people that just want the best for themselves and the people that they care about. And the only way that's going to happen is if we wake up more people, you know, so we can basically make the powers that be stop and reverse the course that they're on, so we don't end up, you know, getting fucked up over the shit that's going on. You see that they trying to start World War III with Russia. That's going to hurt beyond just me and you. That's going to hurt everywhere. You know what I'm saying? If they get into a nuclear war, the water will be tainted, the air will be tainted, a lot of people will die, and it's really unfortunate that nobody is really taking this seriously. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you, the dedicated listener, obviously you're taking it seriously, because regardless of how I present the shit to you, you know what I'm saying, you come back to get a better understanding of what's going on, and I commend that, and I thank you for that. That's supporting the show. Please continue to support the show on Cash App and PayPal. You know what I mean? With as little as 99 cents or whatever you got. You know what I mean? You want to send us 1 penny? You know, after they get their cut, it's going to be less than a penny. But thank you for sending 1 penny, because you ain't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Please continue to share the show so somebody else can find out the forbidden information, so they can wake their families up and protect themselves. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people have been, you know, subject to this mass vaccination agenda, which is a depopulation plan. That's why you seeing motherfuckers just drop dead all over the place now. There's like no choreography to it. Like, just random motherfuckers are just dying in random places. We got Silk, the sister of Diamond from the show Diamond and Silk. They was the pro-Trump 2 black women that basically was putting in their work, you know what I'm saying, with helping wake up society and humanity. And Diamond has unfortunately passed away. Now, it was a rumor going around that Diamond was vaccinated, and soon as she died, everybody was like, oh, she died from the vaccine. And it's crazy because Silk just came out and basically said the same thing, which is very interesting, because when people were saying it on the interwebs and shit, you know, she didn't really feed into it. She didn't really say it was the vax, you know, that she was kind of disgruntled by the fact that people were making, you know, the assumption of what she died from. But at her funeral, you know, she basically had a heartfelt statement, and she wanted people to understand that, you know, it's a lot going on out there. And, you know, if you taking this poison, aka COVID shot, then you could die suddenly from sudden adult death syndrome that they said only occurred in the last 3 years, but now it's a thing. It's funny that sudden adult death syndrome only occurs in vaccinated people and shit. Everybody else has a cause of death and shit, but if you what I'm saying, been vaxxed or double vaxxed, double boosted, or double vaxxed, triple, quadruple boosted, then you basically getting closer and closer to that threshold of no return. Lots of scientists have came out, said if you took 2 of these, you could probably detox from it, but if you took more than 2, then you probably permanently shut off your immune system, which is a terrible, horrible, and I hope, you guys didn't forfeit your lives like that. But I know some people have, and this is very scary and it's very unfortunate to see it going down, but it is what it is. I love everybody, especially if you support us over here at Civilian Talk. I don't want to see anything bad to you. That's why we created Civilian Talk. I just want the best for you and your family. I want y'all to make it out of this situation just like me and my family is making it out of this situation. You know what I'm saying? And I really just do this show to make you understand that there's information out there that's beyond the scope of your reach. And I'm trying to basically place it in your hand. That's why we created CivilianTalkPodcast.com. If you go over to ctp.com, you can go to the Word on the Street section and look at all the articles and videos that's going to be in tonight's show. I really hope, I see the masses is waking up, and slowly but surely more people are coming around and they're understanding that the things that we're talking about is coming to pass. We're a little early on some of this shit. So, is definitely, interesting time to be alive. You know what I'm saying? History is going to show that there were a certain amount of people and certain motherfuckers that was trying to get this shit to stop. And history is going to show that it was a certain amount of people and a certain amount of motherfuckers that didn't know this shit was going on. And history is going to show the folks that made it all happen and capitulated to make the shit happen even faster and shit. And it's really up to us. It don't matter what generation you're from. If you're awakened and you know what's going on, you have to share this information with somebody that you care about. Otherwise, you're a scumbag. Period, point blank. It's pretty much that simple. I know a lot of people don't want to come to terms with the fact that they may be a scumbag or do scumbag shit. But you gotta think, nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. You know what I'm saying? Some would say the way I present this information to you is a little scumbaggerish. You know what I mean? But I say the way I present it to you is real, uncut. There is no filter. We have no boundaries. You know what I'm saying? We're not paid to just say whatever the fuck, mainstream media want us to say. Like, we go find our news ourselves and then present it to you. You know what I'm saying? And, if I'm looking at an outlet and they got an article that says in 3 days, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be a comet hitting the earth and shit, you know what I'm saying, and I see proof of that, then I'm going to share it with y'all. If I look up, if they saying don't look up, and I look up and see the comet coming, then I'm going to tell y'all what the fuck is going on. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't want y'all to know the truth. They don't care if you know the truth. They actually spend a ton of fucking money to ensure that you never find out the truth and that the truth is being suppressed. It's funny. It's a saying that says that a lie goes around the world multiple times before the truth put his shoes on. And ironically, we have been bringing you the truth since 2019, easily since 2019, and we don't want nothing to do with the falsehoods and the fraudulent lies and shit. Like, we coming straight at you with the realness, because the lies is gonna get you killed and the real is gonna keep you safe. And I know a lot of y'all don't want to hear the truth, but y'all gotta hear the truth in order for you to live. Period. So, with that being said, in the spirit of getting the show started, you know what I mean? Thanks again for joining us over here at Civilian Talk Podcast. Thanks for joining the show. Get your weed ready, your lighter handy, or your drink in hand. If you don't do any of those things, it's cool. You mean get you a nice cup of tea or something, you know what I'm saying? And join the camaraderie. And, just vibe with us until the show is over. You feel me? There is no right or wrong way to eat a Reese's. You already know. The anti-vaxxers win. Wow. Anti-vaxxers win? Seriously? Dilbert creator Scott Adams admits vaccine skeptics were right not to trust the jab. Wow. The smartest and happiest people are the ones who didn't get the vaccination, and they're still alive, cartoonist said. I did not end up in the right place. The right place would have been natural immunity with no vaccination. I mean, that's absolutely true. Dilbert creator Scott Adams, who himself took the COVID shot, now concedes that the anti-vaxxers was right not to trust the experimental mRNA jab, which is not a vaccine, it's a gene therapy, that is now shown to be ineffective and even dangerous. I'm going to tell you that the anti-vaxxers appear to be right, Adams says Saturday on his podcast, Real Coffee with Scott Adams. And anybody who did not get vaccinated got a little Omicron or maybe even a worse one, but recovered. Now you've got natural immunity and you have no vaccination in you. Can we all agree that was the winning path? Yes, we can. Let's check it out.
Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you that the anti-vaxxers appear to be right. Somebody who did not get vaccinated, got a little Omicron, or maybe even a worse one, but recovered. Now you've got natural immunity, and you have no vaccination in you. Can we all agree that that was the winning path?
Yes, we can.
The smartest, happiest people are the ones who didn't get the vaccination and are still alive.
Hey, you right.
I want to make sure that I'm not leaving any wiggle room for myself. Have I? Have I said as clearly as possible they're the happy ones right now?
Oh, yeah.
And have a reason to be, completely.
Absolutely, yeah. Because we're winning.
Having said as clearly as possible that the anti-vax people seem to be the winners, I want you to hear that clearly. The anti-vax people appear to be the winners.
Say it one more time.
The anti-vaxxers clearly are the winners at this point, and I think it'll probably stay that way. And I don't want to put any shade on that whatsoever. They came out the best. They have the winning position. The unvaccinated have a current advantage because they feel better. The thing they're not worrying about is what I have to worry about.
Is the vaccine going to kill you?
That vaccination 5 years from now. Because really the anti-vaxxers, I think, were really just distrustful of big companies and big government. That's never wrong. It's never wrong to distrust government.
So why you keep calling them anti-vaxxers?
It's never wrong to distrust big companies, right? So if you just took the position, let's just distrust everything the government did, well, you won. You won. You won completely. I did not end up in the right place.
Yo.
Agree?
Yeah, agree.
You would all agree with that, right? I did not end up in the right place. The right place would be natural immunity, no vaccination.
Absolutely.
You should take victory.
Oh, we did.
And I should take defeat.
Well, we don't
agree on that, right?
Well, that's the thing. We don't.
That my position.
That's the thing. We don't want you to have to take defeat. This is not a competition. We tried to save you too, Dilbert creator Scott Adams. We tried to tell you too. You know what I'm saying? We don't. This is not about us living and you dying. That's not what we wanted. We tried to warn you. We tried to tell you. We tried to make it known that these things were dangerous. And y'all just kept calling us names. And just like the lefty losers and shit, when you don't agree with the LGBT and shit, you're a bigot, homophobe, xenophobe, transphobe, everyphobe. And then soon, you mean y'all rape somebody and shit. It's, oh, you're intolerant and shit because we want to lock y'all the fuck up. See, it's not like that with this one. Yeah, you probably said everybody should go to jail for, not taking it and shit. And yeah, you probably said we should be rounded up and put in the slave camps for not taking it. But we are never going to take solace in the fact that you might be about to die because of some shit and you didn't want to listen. Like, we are never taking solace in that. You know what I'm saying? So I just want that shit to be known for our listeners, that we would never, be excited about you about to die because you took some poison. Like, that's not us. That's demonic behavior. You know what I mean? We're the godly folks. We want to see everybody win. We want to see everybody prevail. That's why we trying to figure out ways for you to detox this shit. That's why niggas is like, yo, take some hydroxychloroquine. Yo, take some ivermectin. Take it with quinine and shit so you can open up your cell receptors to zinc and have that zinc push out all that bad shit. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of shit, but we'll never, be excited about something happening to you because you didn't want to listen to us, even though you prosecuted us. That's just, you know what I'm saying? We're not y'all. You know what I'm saying? We're over here. We just trying to do God's work. Whatever God called us to do, it could be anything, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, we just want you to wake up. That's it.
It is now the weakest, and your position has gone from the weakest to the strongest, and that we can just say that's true. The people who didn't get vaxxed are absolutely in the winning position. You win. You win. You are the winners. You are the winners. All right, let me say that part with no ambiguity. You won. You won. All of my fancy analytics got me to a bad place. All of your heuristics, don't trust these guys, it's obvious, totally worked.
Man, you had a decision to make. You chose to ride with, the other ones, and Scott Adams is threatening to sue Ben Garrison for this cartoon. Obey science. That's Dr. Fauci. He got jabs in his hand. I must obey the science. You got Scott Adams with all the jabs in his arm. Later, fuck. You anti-vaxxers was right accidentally. You're still stupid. Here go Dilbert. I'll take the L, dummy. Yeah, real shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, we tried to warn y'all, man. We tried to tell y'all, dog. We don't like the fact that something is happening to y'all. You know what I mean? So don't ever get that fucked up. We are not out here like, yes, the creator of Dilbert is about to fucking kill over and shit. Like, that's not us, man. That's not what we do. You know what I'm saying? That's what the lefty losers do. That's not what motherfuckers in the center do, dog. You know what I mean? Like, yes, it wasn't smart, you know what I mean, to, try to come for us and diss us and all that shit and call us all these type of names and shit. It wasn't smart to do that. But at the same time, again, we don't take no solace in something happening to you, dog. That's just wrong. I felt like I was dying. Elon Musk trashes COVID booster over major side effects. Hopefully, no permanent damage, but I don't know, says Twitter CEO. Man, he know. Man, when you fucked up. You know what I'm saying? And, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? As much as we want everybody to win, everybody can't win. You know what I'm saying? And it's unfortunate that, y'all got to go through this, but, that's what happened when you don't want to listen. When CNN trumps the news cycle, when you say you can't believe somebody because they're not CNN or ABC or NBC, then that's basically, that's basically what you get. Twitter CEO Elon Musk claims was laid out by the COVID booster shot, which brought on major side effects. Musk was responding to a tweet by Dilbert creator Scott Adams showing a Rasmussen poll, which found that 7% of vaccinated individuals reported major side effects, contrary to the claims by the CDC that such adverse reactions are rare. I had a major side effect from my second booster shot. I felt like I was dying for several days. Hopefully no permanent damage, but I don't know, Musk tweeted on Saturday. Scott Adams, question: 68% of 260 million adults is 177 million indicate they received the COVID vax, and 7% of the reported major side effects. That translate into 177 times 0.07 into approximately 12 million people. The CDC said major side effects are rare. So 12 million motherfuckers getting the major side effects. That's rare. I hate to see what the fuck is common and shit. How many people does the CDC estimate have major side effects? You know what I'm saying? How many? Elon Musk jumped on. I had major side effects on my second booster shot. I felt like I was dying for several days. Hopefully, no permanent damage, but I don't know. I had the OG C19 before vaccines came out, and it was basically mild cold. Then I had the Johnson & Johnson vaccine with no bad side effects, except my arm hurt briefly. First mRNA booster was okay, but the second one crushed me. Wow. You took a second booster shot? I thought you were smarter than that. Was required to visit Tesla Giga Berlin. Not my choice. And my cousin, who was younger and in peak health, had a serious case of myocarditis, had to go to the hospital. Damn, Elon, you putting all your shit out there? Peter McCullough responded, Elon, here is a graphic that helps people understand COVID-19 induced myocarditis. Summarize concepts from 250 peer-reviewed and preprint papers. Have dozens of cases of cardiological practice. Got all the factors and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? And y'all know what it was, man. That's why we was literally out here screaming at the fucking mountaintop, like, don't take it. Please don't take it. Don't do it. Why are you doing it? Like, we was literally like yelling, you know what I'm saying? Listen, people, you know, y'all smarter than this. We kept saying y'all smarter than this. And then y'all was just like, no, we're actually dumber than that. And it was like, well, how the fuck is all this shit going, you know what I'm saying? And it was just crazy, man, because, yo, I know motherfuckers that killed over. You mean, when the pandemic first started, motherfuckers was killing over. Left and right, killing over. You know what I'm saying? Then out of nowhere, motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying, was like, oh, well, you know, we got to get this motherfucking vaccine. And people like me was like, yo, bro, you really shouldn't, you know what I'm saying? You really shouldn't fuck with it, you know? And it's like, you know, it don't matter how much, you know, we yell at y'all. It don't matter how much we tell y'all. It don't matter how often we push the truth at y'all. They got more money, more funding, more capabilities to reach you than I do. You know what I'm saying? I'm a peon compared to these motherfuckers. They hold the platforms. They got the platforms. So a motherfucker like me, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to be nothing on their platform. You know what I mean? So me trying to get at you and motherfucking wake you up ain't going to do shit. You know what I'm saying? If you not trying to accept the fact that I'm telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? Because if you seeing 27 articles that say that's a fucking lie, then you hearing me saying it's the truth. You know what I'm saying? Who is the one brain cell motherfuckers most likely to believe? The 27 articles that say I'm lying and shit. Not the one that says I'm telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? Because people, it's majority rules. See, that's that group think shit. Y'all niggas go with the group. Y'all think with the group. And then y'all be like, oh, well, majority rule. Nah, man, like, y'all niggas really got to tighten the fuck up. Y'all really got to tighten the fuck up. And it's sad, man, because it's like y'all don't even care, man. You know what I mean? And again, all we trying to do is tell you the truth. In other news, video. Silk describes how her sister Diamond suddenly died in home during the memorial of Lynette Diamond Hardaway, sister of Silk, suggests that the COVID vaccine may have something to do with her sister's sudden death. Speaking on Saturday before the crowd, which included former President Donald Trump, Silk described how 51-year-old Diamond died suddenly in the kitchen as a result of a blood clot in the lung. Wow. DC Drano. This is horrible to watch. Diamond says she couldn't breathe and then died suddenly. Silk is demanding answers about the vaccine and what it did to her sister. Why does it keep happening? Why do healthy Americans keep dying suddenly out of nowhere? I mean, it's the perfect question.
As soon as Diamond hung up the phone, she said to me, "I can't breathe." It was suddenly, out of nowhere, and no warning. I got her to the kitchen table, opened up the back door so that she can get some air. And each breath was less and less and less until her eyes became a stare. My husband and I followed the 911 instructions from the lady. We laid her, like they told us to lay her flat. They said, do CPR, and it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. My husband and I alternated and kept going and going and going until the emergency truck came into the yard and the EMS came into the house. They did everything that they could. So what I want to say to everybody is, don't you dare call me a conspiracy theorist. Because I saw it happen. I saw how it happened. I was there when it happened. And it happened suddenly. I want America to wake up and pay attention. Something ain't right. It's time to investigate what's really going on here and get some answers to why are people falling dead suddenly.
Yeah, man, one more time.
As soon as Diamond hung up the phone, she said to me, "I can't breathe." It was suddenly, out of nowhere, and no warning. I got her to the kitchen table, opened up the back door so that she can get some air. And each breath was less and less and less until her eyes became a stare. My husband and I followed the 911 instructions from the lady. We laid her, like they told us to lay her flat. They said, do CPR, and it was 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. My husband and I alternated and kept going and going and going until the emergency truck came into the yard and the EMS came into the house. They did everything that they could. So what I want to say to everybody is, don't you dare call me a conspiracy theorist. Because I saw it happen. I saw how it happened. I was there when it happened. And it happened suddenly. I want America to wake up and pay attention. Something ain't right. It's time to investigate what's really going on here and get some answers to why are people falling dead suddenly.
Man, dog, you know, it's a simple question, requires a simple answer and shit. And they don't want to give it to you. Remember, they wanted to suppress the information for 75 years. You were supposed to wait 75 years to find out why you got motherfucking sick in the first place. Now, think about that. You know, if a motherfucker telling you the truth, they don't want you to wait 75 years to figure it out. What's going to happen in 75 years? Everybody that took this shit will be dead. So everybody that took the shit won't give a fuck. So you see how it works? We do it to you now, lay off you. 75 years from now, we drop the information. Anybody that could have been prosecuted at that time won't be, because they're either dead or too high up politically, you know what I'm saying, to be touched. 75 years? I mean, if you let something go for 70, I mean, listen, if you found out a motherfucker, your neighbor was a Nazi in 1943 and shit, and he been living next to you for fucking 20 years and shit, and y'all good friends, when you find out he a Nazi, he's still gonna be your good friend. Why? Because the Nazis were already prosecuted. So Excuse me. So your logic is going to be, well, if he didn't get prosecuted, he must be one of the good ones. That's what they want you to think. That's what they want you to believe. It's crazy, man. Like, I say it's crazy about 70 times a show, yo, because it's like the shit is just unbelievable. And it's like the fact that y'all not understanding that they're really trying to kill you is just like even more unbelievable. And then y'all call us conspiracy theorists because we don't want to believe the motherfuckers that told you the shit was safe and effective. And then y'all mad at us because we don't trust them and y'all trust them and we don't believe y'all, so we don't trust y'all. And then it's just a clusterfuck of who knows what, when they know it, and who on the right side of history. Now, I like to say all the time, it's great to be on the right side of history, ain't it, folks? It's stroke season. Jamie Ducks. Chip.
Warning. I chain smoke and I say fuck a lot. But I accept myself for the way I am. I accept you too. Viewer discretion advised. I just wanted to warn you guys about seasonal strokes, because apparently stroke season is coming up. I saw this on Twitter earlier. Apparently it came out 4 days ago, which would be around January 18, 2023, on CBC News. I'll leave a link, and I archived it.
So what is this link between influenza, infection, and stroke?
Yeah, I didn't know about this either until last year, but it turns out that after flu season, about 3 or 4 weeks later, there is a stroke season.
Now it's a
and
stroke
like
season.
Said, most of Canada is
Wow.
getting down off of a big hump of flu, so now we're starting to see more strokes. And a friend of one of my colleagues mentioned that at work the other day. Said, "Have you noticed how many strokes we're seeing? It's a lot more than usual, it feels like." So anecdotally, we're starting to see that. The good news is that getting your flu shot reduces your risk of stroke, according to a study from the University of Calgary right here back in November.
Not getting your flu shot.
Yeah, so the researchers looked at health records of all Albertans, so about 4 million people over 10 flu seasons. And they found that for about 6 months after you get your flu shot, the risk of having a stroke is reduced by about 20% overall compared to if you didn't get a flu shot. And your risk goes down even if you don't have the sort of typical stroke risk factors like being over 50 or smoking, things like that. Even for younger folks, the risk is lower if you get a flu shot. And it's even lower if everybody gets their flu shots year after year after year rather than just a single flu shot.
I'm hearing a theme here. We should get our flu shot.
Get your flu shot, which is more mRNA that they're going to poison you.
And how getting a flu shot would lower the risk of having one?
Yeah, so a stroke is when the blood supply to the brain is compromised for some reason. It's basically a plumbing problem in the pipes that supply blood to your brain. And there's two things that can go wrong with pipes, right? They can get blocked or they can burst. So either way, the blood can't get to where it needs to go. And if the blood supply isn't restored quite quickly, like within a few hours, then parts of the brain start to die. And the symptoms are a bit different depending on which parts of the brain are involved. So as for how a flu shot might lower your risk, we know that when your body fights a big infection like influenza, there's sort of a system-wide inflammatory response. And that inflammation can cause problems with the pipes. It can make the inside of the pipes stickier. It can make your blood a little bit thicker, especially if you get dehydrated. And it can even put the heart into a weird rhythm called atrial fibrillation. All of those things can increase your risk of having a stroke. So by getting a flu shot and then avoiding having influenza, you basically avoid the risk of all that inflammation. And even if you get your flu shot and then catch influenza still, you still have way less inflammation because your immune system is already ready to fight. So that's sort of how the flu shot eventually lowers your risk of stroke is by either preventing the inflammation from the infection or decreasing it overall.
Man,
Man, this is some bullshit. Fucking stoned.
Yeah, man. It's stroke season, folks. Are y'all serious? Now we got a stroke season? I mean, yes, nigga. I mean, it could just be me. It could just be. I could just be over egg dragging. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes I do that. I over egg drag. You know? But, yeah. You pretty much, if you're not an idiot, if you're not a complete idiot, then you could pretty much tell that was all cap. And they just want you to get more shots so they can start taking the blame off the COVID shot for the reason why you're dying. And I wouldn't be surprised if you took a flu shot and it assisted you in dying a little bit faster. Yeah. As much as I don't take solace in the fact that y'all getting hurt and shit, sometimes I do be like, you get what you get. And you deserve what you deserve. If you're a fucking idiot, you kind of get, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. There you go. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Again, I'm not taking solace in the fact that y'all fucking up, but I do laugh at it because it's like, I'm glad God saw fit to wake me up. Why didn't he see fit to wake you up? You know what I'm saying? So it's just really interesting. It's really interesting. So, I mean, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? WHO chief says prep the world for mandatory jabs because he's obviously a vaccine pusher and shit. This is on Bandai Video at Bill Gates is Evil and shit. Y'all should check it out. You know what I mean? From the 20th. WHO chief vax pusher preps the world for mandatory jabs. Let's do it.
I don't believe in mandatory vaccination in principle. I do believe in the principle that we have a duty to protect ourselves. We also have a duty to protect our families, and we have a duty to the wider society. And vaccination is about protecting yourself, but it also is an inherently altruistic act in that you are vaccinating yourself in order to be part of an immune group that will then protect those who can't be vaccinated for other reasons. I believe many people are vaccine hesitant, but I don't believe many people are anti-vaccination. And I think there's a big difference between people who are anti-vaccination as an ideologic principle and those people who have genuine questions and concerns around vaccination. And we have to do a much better job at understanding people's concerns, understanding the reasons why people are hesitant about vaccination. Some of that's built on years and years of experience of an unfair system or a health system that hasn't treated people very well. But I reserve a particular view on those individuals who are out there presenting false information,
like what?
Misinformation,
like what?
Like what?
Give us some examples.
They're very different, and I don't think we're going to convince those people. But the damage they do, they have a choice, and everyone has that choice. And if they choose not to be vaccinated themselves, fair enough. But the damage they do by promoting and continually promoting pseudoscience, it has a hugely negative effect.
Y'all promoting pseudoscience.
People who then ultimately become infected and are hospitalized, go to ICU, or die in the absence of having been vaccinated.
Wow.
The Nazi regime went all the way to the bitter end. The people who followed them, the people who did whatever they said, were as if in a trance. They were hypnotized. And the only way that hypnosis was broken, the only way that happened, was when the people who were hypnotizing them were stopped in their tracks. Ladies and gentlemen, I've come to the conclusion that whoever's watching and is so gung-ho about the you-know-what and taking 4 and taking 5 and this, I'm not going to break you out of your stupor. Unless you break out of it yourself, right? Most of these people, ladies and gentlemen, if you are a so-called conspiracy theorist of your family and friends group, you're not going to break your friends out of the stupor. You know when they're going to be broken out of their stupor? When the people who got them into the stupor to begin with will be neutralized. Dr. Mousy, Gil Bates, Cotton Swab, and all the rest of them, ladies and gentlemen. I don't need to name more names. There's a ton more names. There's a bunch, right? Shmurla, la, the list goes on and on and on. All their underlings, all the people. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, when those people are neutralized, when those people are, at the very least,
in prison,
put on kind of public questioning about everything that they did in the last 3 years, that is when, and I already see it, people are waking up slowly, but I'm talking about the real gung-ho people that you're just like, you know, you talk to them, you guys know what I'm talking about. You talk to some people, it feels like you're living in alternative realities. It feels like you believe your lying eyes, you're asking them to do the same, they can't bring themselves to do the same. Ladies and gentlemen, it's only going to happen, they're going to wake up, really wake up, is when the people who did this to them have hypnotized the world. You know, again, I have a friend who told me about a year ago, she said, you know, Tzvi, you need to understand that the people who are doing this, they are using spiritual powers. They are using the powers of the occult to do this.
Absolutely.
They have hypnotized at least 50% of the world, maybe more. Mesmerized and hypnotized. You can't snap your fingers and get them out of it, ladies and gentlemen. You ever see a hypnotism show? You know, only the hypnotizer can get the person who is hypnotized out of the thing,
right,
out of their state.
Right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, in this case, it's not going to happen until those people are neutralized, and then when those people are no longer doing their hypnosis, their ongoing kind of non-stop hypnosis to this day, to this moment, that's when people are going to be like, you know what? We have a problem here.
So I had a distant relative suffering from seizures, and they called me and asked me, what should we get? And I said, look, you should try CBD because...
Yeah, man, that's a commercial on the back end of the video and shit, but y'all should definitely check it out. Always a lot of great information over there at Infowars and Banned Out Video, you already know. But Gateway Process, the CIA and mankind's hidden potential. So that hypnotism, this is how they doing it to you, Greg Reese. Yeah.
In 2003, the CIA released a classified document with the subject heading Analysis and Assessment of Gateway Process, a process that utilizes audio frequencies to achieve brain hemisphere synchronization. In order to provide a thorough evaluation, the document covers the techniques of hypnosis, biofeedback, and transcendental meditation, thereby providing a modern scientific account of an ancient guarded knowledge of mankind's spiritual potential, a potential that could save humanity from the mind-control tactics being used to divide and enslave us. The left brain is the mind's verbal and linear reasoning component. It categorizes and assigns meaning to incoming stimuli and passes this resulting information to the right brain, which is non-critical and accepts whatever information it is given without question. The left brain is the ego mind. It operates on autopilot and can be easily swayed by external stimuli. Most of us are unaware of this because we naturally tend to identify ourselves with the ego. We think that the ego is who we are, but in fact, it is just a part of our mental processing. The right brain is our subconscious mind, and hypnosis is a technique of directly accessing the subconscious by disengaging the ego, giving us self-awareness and control over the subconscious mind. Transcendental meditation achieves this by practicing single-minded concentration of drawing energy up from the base of the spinal cord and into the brain. With practice, this visual concentration eventually polarizes the cortex, bringing both hemispheres into balance. allowing the individual to transcend the ego mind. With biofeedback, rather than suppressing the left brain as done with hypnosis or ignoring it as done with meditation, the practitioner programs the ego mind with visualization while monitoring the physiological response, thereby programming the subconscious mind by observing the results with real-time biological feedback. The gateway process, also known as hemisync, achieves this same goal by simply listening to specific audio frequencies that bring both hemispheres of the brain into synchronicity with one another. All of these practices, some of which have been taught for millennia, have been proven effective with modern scientific tools. The gateway process has been shown to bring the entire body into a coherent vibration of approximately 7 to 7.5 cycles per second, which then creates a resonance with the electrostatic field of the Earth. It is believed that this resonance is what allows the practitioner to transcend time and space, or in other words, allow their consciousness to leave the body without limitation. What we call physical matter is not solid at all. It is more like a highly advanced holographic image made up of different frequencies. What we experience as solid matter is actually the electromagnetic repulsion of certain frequencies, and this includes our own physical body. And so it is believed that the reason these practices work is because our consciousness is not being generated by our bodies, but rather our bodies are being generated by our consciousness. Physicists have proven that the physical world is energy and define time as a measurement of change within this energy. In order for energy to take form, it needs to be limited to a specific vibration. Energy at rest is uniformly extended without limit. It is everywhere at once. This is why humans are able to remote view, which is a term used by the military for their psychic training protocol, wherein they teach an individual to transcend space and time in order to gather information remotely. And this is how Mr. Guy Savelli was able to drop a goat from 100 feet away with his thoughts. But most importantly, the suppression of this knowledge is how the government is able to program your subconscious mind for you, without you even knowing it, and control what you perceive to be reality. Reporting for InfoWars, this is Greg Reese.
You already know, always powerful with Greg. I mean, Greg be on point. Yeah, I mean, he be holding us down with all his critical information. And I appreciate all the work that he put in to, attempt to wake up me, you, and the rest of mankind. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely a big thing. You feel me? Critics blast Klaus Schwab, World Economic Forum, trying to master the future with global enslavement. Excuse me, this is from Natural News. This year, highly publicized annual meeting of the World Economic Forum, WEF, is receiving much criticism as the rest of the world looks in horror at the grotesque display of globalism gone wild. This year's gathering centers around head Klaus Schwab Master of the Future theme, which aims to subjugate the entire world under a heavy hand of global tyranny. In 2016, Schwab unveiled his Everyone Will Own Nothing and Everyone Will Own Nothing, Have Nothing, and Be Happy by the year 2023 speech. In 2020, we heard about the Great Reset, and now the agenda is cooperation in a fragmented world post-COVID, as well as solving the cost of living crisis. Do you know how they're going to solve the cost of living crisis? By making us all homeless. So if you don't see nobody in a mansion, then how is there a crisis? Because all y'all living the same way. See, and if you it's so frustrating. If you just fucking take the time to think about this shit, then you'll understand it in full. There's really no ifs, ands, or buts to it. You know what I'm saying? To achieve his long-time goals of the world takeover, Schwab says globalists everywhere must unite with him under the banner of centralizing everything under the sun, or as one critic put it, centralizing power into the possession of hand-picked global elites. All freedoms, liberties must go. All freedoms and liberties must go, especially in the United States, where pesky little things like free speech and the right to bear arms is impending Schwab's plan. Let me read that one more time. All freedom and liberty must go, especially in the United States, where pesky things like freedom of speech and the right to bear arms, the First and the Second Amendment, are impending Schwab's plan. According to Schwab, unvaccinated people are also a threat to humanity and must be dealt with. Another critic wrote, the World Economic Forum annual meeting acts as the go-to in-person, invite-only, closed to ideological outsiders policy and ideas shop for global ruling class. World Economic Forum playing defense this year amid a worldwide uprising against the globalist tyranny. Some of the other key themes at this year's WEF meeting include combating misinformation. They are the misinformation and disinformation bringers. So who are they combating? Truth tellers. You have to invert it in order for it to make sense. Promoting more public-private partnerships. Pushing more green politics, as well as other buzzwords as DEI, resiliency, sustainability, health security, digitizing the metaverse, and rolling out more smart technologies. We see the manifold political, economic, and social forces creating increased fragmentation on a global and national level. To address the root causes of this erosion of trust, we need to reinforce cooperation between the government and business sectors, creating the condition for a strong, durable recovery. Schwab said in a press release about the focus on this year's meeting. At the same time, there must be recognition that the economic development needs to be made more resilient, more sustainable, and nobody should be left behind, which means nobody should own anything. Nobody should have anything, and everybody should like it. COVID and everything that's changed the world with its unleashing, Schwab further added that the meeting opening ceremony serves as a catalytic catalytic forces for the economy transformation he is pushing through the collective responsibility, innovation of the human goodwill, and ingenuity. We have the capacity to turn such challenges into opportunities, he added. Investment journalist Jordan Satchel commented that Schwab's statement about mastering the future and overcoming negative, critical, and confrontational attitudes is the globalist entity way of trying to play defense against the growing criticisms of its agenda. The heavy push to silence the free speech in order to fight disinformation campaigns showed that Schwab et al. Are concerned that too much contradictory talk is taking place in today's political climate, especially on the social media platforms like Twitter that have become new digital public squares. It was Schwab's earlier statement about owning nothing, having nothing, and being happy that first sparked the misinformation campaign about the WEF, according to Canada's The Global and Mail and pro-propaganda media outlet. Robert F. Kennedy, another WEF critic, noted that the WEF annual meetings is something of an annual pilgrimage that prominent globalists take as allegiance to Schwab, Bill Gates, and other billionaires from whom they get their marching orders. Oddly enough, it seems to me that they're creating every problem they are now claiming they want to solve: climate change, fake pandemics, disruptions in the supply chain, energy crisis, cost of living crisis, interruptions to travel, war, conflict, and the list goes on, adding one critical commenter to the conversation. And of course, nobody does misinfo better than they do, creating the problem than creating the supposed solution. Remember, pandemic, vaccine. There you have it. Yeah, man, you can see the latest news about Klaus Schwab and the WEF. It can be found at globalism.news, and I put a link to that inside of the article if you want to check it out and shit. Critics of Klaus Schwab, just check out that joint. It'll bring you straight up to what you're looking for, and you already should know. It's always a blessing to share this information, which you already know. WEF calls for New World Order. What globalists are planning at Davos exposed. Let's give it a run now.
Here at WEF, I believe we're discussing, there's a lot of discussion about what the new world order will be, or how, even in the context of our new Helsinki, how do we work towards that new normative international order that allows us to address our differences and disputes as the civilized world. But I hope going forward we are able to do, we must form and improve our normative and international institutional order internationally so that we can address these complaints. I hope this time round, once we're building this new world order or new rules-based order, the voice of the global south and the developing world is included.
The voice of the
everybody,
global
Josh
south.
Stevenson, World Alternative Media here, and what you just saw was the World Economic Forum calling for a new world order, and it's not the first time, and it won't be the last time, and it wasn't even the only time at this recent meeting. And we're going to go into this and more today because, we are witnessing them conspire against humanity as a whole to bring in a great reset, which, of course, people like Klaus Schwab himself says he uses China as a role model for. So again, he's called it the New World of Tomorrow. He's also called it a New World Order. And this is something that, remember, years ago they were saying, the World Economic Forum isn't conspiring to create a world government. It is quite literally what they are doing. And I think the details of what kind of world government that is important too, because it's not the same as the one done by proxy war since the 90s. No, this is a totally new reset of an empire. We are going to see the fall of the American empire, the European empire, the UK empire, and the move out of Western civilization into Eastern civilization as they build, these new projects like NEOM in Saudi Arabia. This article out of Zero Hedge, it says, Davos attendee says quiet part out loud. Agenda is to create a new world order. A Davos speaker explicitly outlined the World Economic Forum's agenda when he stated that the goal was to create a new world order. So in this video, we're going to go into not just that, but there's a whole bunch of other examples of people making announcements at the World Economic Forum and what exactly those announcements are and how it affects you, my friend. So we're going to go into that and more today. But first, we're going to have a word from our amazing sponsor. That's www. You won't find anywhere else. So go and inflation versus this reset agenda dependent, because that is not what they expect. They expect everyone to be dependent and compliant. This is our ticket to win the war for humanity, is by being prepared. So please don't wait until the shelves are empty. It could happen anytime this year. Make sure to check that link in the description for heavensharvest.com. And again, use code WHAM. Anyway, let's get into this. So this is out of Zero Hedge. It says Davos attendees say the quiet part out loud. Agenda is to create a new world order. And you saw the clip earlier. And now, they're not the only ones. Like, this guy wasn't the only one. We have this clip, which it says, Drew Hernandez shared it. It says, World Economic Forum declares countries need to respect global rules and says, and I quote, we have countries that are respecting their national interests going beyond the rules. She ends by saying, we have to take into consideration the world order. We also see posts like this, Davos Watch. WEF unveils the 5-minute city utopia, which they claim will be 100% solar.
We had that on the show.
And wind-powered, occupied by millions. the 5-minute city is said to be completed by 2045. Now, there's a 15-minute city, not to be confused. So I want to mention that. And sorry, my lungs are kind of shot. I'm in Canada. I have asthma. It's dry here. It's hard to breathe in this climate. But anyway, when you look at the 15-minute city project, the 15-minute city project is the idea of, and it was unveiled by the World Economic Forum March 2022. We talked about it before they even talked about it. And now, at the end of 2022, they announced that they are going to be putting into law in places like Oxfordshire in England and Melbourne, Australia. And, we're seeing it pop up in Amsterdam, in smart cities across the world, even in Russia. We're seeing it pop up in places like, of course, Paris and Lisbon and, all these. I mean, honestly, I think about 30 countries, Barcelona, all these places. So the point is, it means that you're going to be closed in when you are in your neighborhood and you have to ask the government permission to leave your neighborhood by permit up to 100 times a year, depending on your social credit and carbon credit score, I should add. So that is going to be brutal. This 5-minute city is the next step. It's things like NEOM project, the Line project, 100-mile-long skyscraper in Saudi Arabia, where they hope to have a net zero carbon, all that. It's basically Logan's Run. We did a video back in August that showed the comparisons between the NEOM project, the Line project, and Logan's Run. It's the same thing. Basically, instead of a dome, it is a line, and it has facial recognition everywhere. It has social credit, cashless system completely. And this is incredibly dangerous, my friends, because that was always a goal. They're collapsing one empire to move into the new empire. The new empire will be China, Russia, India, Saudi Arabia, of course, as they leave the dollar for a petro yuan,
Brazil,
which is the death nail in the coffin of the dollar, as with inflation and all these issues. And it's going to lead into this. Look at China. Zero COVID policy. It's just a zero carbon policy. They're using that zero COVID policy as a litmus test for all this. So this needs to be understood, because they are moving into a new empire. This new world order is based in technocracy and compliance. It's based on the Chinese model that they've been planning for so long. Henry Kissinger met with Mao Zedong in the early 1970s to create an alliance with China. And in doing that, they saved China from economic catastrophe and starvation and propped them up as a monopoly for trade worldwide.
And we're going to come back on the other side, give you some more of that. Don't move your motherfucking switch. It's your boy. In the year 2020, we have seen COVID lockdowns, mandatory COVID mandates, COVID vaccines that kill people, COVID vaccines that maim people, COVID vaccines that sterilize folks, all mandatory in the name of quack science. But only here in the Twilight Zone will you realize that upside down world is not only inevitability, but it's a reality. No now means yes. Yes now means no. Upside down now means right side up. Being good now means being treacherously bad. Being bad means being unquestionably good. You will understand that here in the Twilight Zone. Only those who capitulate survive. They want to track you and trace you. They want to maim your children. They want to sterilize you and your children in the name of science. Here in the Twilight Zone, there is no mother. There is no father. There is no sister, brother, aunt, or uncle. There's no identification of male. No identification of female. All in the name of tolerance, diversity, acceptance, and inclusion to push an agenda of dehumanity and transhumanism. Only here in the Twilight Zone will you realize that living is an afterthought to capitulation. You have Karens that want you to wear masks all day long. You have Sir Karens that want to fight you if you attempt to breathe fresh air. You have presidents that want to overrun your country with illegal immigrants, although you have a 95% complete border wall. You have vice presidents that cackle at the idea of immigrants and asylum seekers are being raped, ravaged, and murdered to reach a country that is so far away that it can be thought of as out of this world. You will hear more, but only here in Upside Down World. The Upside Down World we call the Twilight Zone. Yeah, we back, so we're gonna play a little bit more of that, but then we're gonna get it going and shit. Let's do it.
Then what happened was the French came to the United States in a battleship in the port of New York and demanded their gold back because they found out the U.S. didn't have the reserves they claimed. What happened was the U.S. was printing more IOU notes than they had gold in reserve, so that led to Nixon leaving the gold standard and moving into the fiat standard, which then Kissinger went and shook hands with the Saudis to establish the petrodollar system so that they would trade their oil with dollars. And then fast forward to the creation of the Trilateral Commission by Zbigniew Brzezinski in the late 1970s under Carter. That was meant to create a technocratic super state. And he worked with Klaus Schwab and all those people too. And in doing that, they wanted to use China as the litmus test for this new World Order that is going to be after the next cycle of the New World Order, which came up throughout the 90s. And this is important because now the Saudis are moving to China to trade their oil in the yuan, and that's a death nail in the coffin of the dollar. And it was the U.S. that did it in the first place. They created the system in the first place. That's what the New World Order is. Not just that. It's cashless, obviously, with carbon credits and all that, but we'll get into that more later. Anyway, carrying on. You see stuff like this. Saudi Arabian diplomat Ahmed Al-Jubeir talks about his vision of the future. There will be no cars. They're already getting rid of cars in Paris, France, by 2024. Private cars, anyway, in the center. Only government vehicles will be allowed. So we're already seeing that. They're trying to ban airplanes by 2050. It's insane. They already banned domestic flights in France. And they had that recent, quote-unquote, glitch where they said the FAA system went down, even though they have like 3 backup systems. They shut it down. All planes stay grounded. All domestic flights in all the United States stay grounded for a couple hours, which is insane. That wasn't a mistake. That was on purpose. They're running tests.
That's exactly what I said.
On Twitter, he says, Davos Watch. The WEF predicts humans will soon embrace implanting brain technology so they can decode complex thought. They also say the more that healthy people adopt neurotechnology, the more data they can gather on you. They say neuro signals can be used for biometrics. Again, this is what people like Elon Musk is trying to implement. It's interesting that Elon Musk has so many of the same views as Klaus Schwab, though we'll show later Elon Musk actually just blasted the WF, the Great Reset agenda, on Twitter. But
because he need guinea pigs. I mean, who the fuck wants to create a technology and nobody use it? You mean that's a waste of fucking time? I just wasted a shit ton of time. Like, you mean I want to, roll it out and use it. You know what I'm saying? Big banks and the IMF plan to steal your money. I told y'all that Zelle trap was just the beginning. I've been told y'all they're about to roll out the CBDC, the central bank digital dollar, digital coin. And they're going. I explain how coffee would work, and that explains how everything else will work. You should, really open your mind up to listening to these things because it's coming down to, if you got cash in the bank, take out half of it. You know what I'm saying? If you got money and you don't got gold and silver, buy it. You know what I'm saying? If you got money in the bank and gold and silver you don't have, purchase some. You know why? Because shit will fucking work out for you later and shit. I told y'all I was hard for a couple dollars, and I took 30 grams of gold, walked out of there with over 1,500. You know what I'm saying? Now, you know, gold was down at the time, so if gold was at the price that it is now and shit, I'd have walked out of there with around 1,800. You know what I'm saying? But I needed the bread, and always having that gold and that silver available, platinum, palladium available, you know what I'm saying? I can always get bread. So it don't matter what the fiat currency is, gold, silver, platinum, palladium will always be worth something. You know what I'm saying? There'll be always somebody out there willing to trade paper dollars for your gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. Real shit. But again, the big banks and the IMF plan to steal your money. Yeah. Cha-cha!
Canadian veteran and political activist Jeremy Mackenzie, known as the Raging Dissident, was just notified that he can no longer do banking in Canada.
As part of ending the relationship so as of today, you're not to visit any of the Scotiabank branches or bank premises in person without first getting written consent in advance from the bank, from management. So
I'm banned from the bank.
But it doesn't matter if you are a political activist or an obedient sheep, because the banks are planning on taking all of your money to pay off their debts.
I mean, it's a little bit conflicted, right? I mean, it's important that people understand they can be bailed in, but you don't want a huge run on the institution. But they're going to be. That's
the FDIC currently has less
Wait a
than
minute.
Be bailed in, but you
all of your money to pay off their debts.
I mean, it's a little bit conflicted, right? I mean, it's important that people understand they can be bailed in, but you don't want a huge run on the institution. But they're going to be. That's a little bit conflicted, right? I mean, it's important that people understand they can be bailed in, but you don't want a huge run on the institution. But they're going to be.
Bailed in is the opposite of a bailout. So when you bail out, they give you money, or they give the institution money. When they bail in, they take the money that they're holding. Need to hear more? Okay.
That's
the FDIC currently has less than $200 billion in assets to insure over $9 trillion. That's just 1.3%. They know that a system collapse is coming, and they are already planning for bail-ins. As trust begins to fail, the people will begin to withdraw their funds, which will only guarantee a banking collapse. This is known as a bank run. In 2012, the International Monetary Fund, known for their reputation of coercion, violence, and extortion, published staff discussion notes entitled From Bailout to Bail-In, Mandatory Debt Restructuring of Systemic Financial Institutions.
Wow.
After the 2008 crisis, the world learned what a bailout is. Trillions of taxpayer dollars printed out of thin air to pay off the bankers' bad habits. It was hugely unpopular, but pales in comparison to a bail-in. So what exactly is a bail-in?
Explain
It is
it.
officially obfuscated with elaborate equations, but to put it simply, it is when the bank steals your money directly from your account. They called it haircuts when they did it in Cyprus back in 2013, which the courts later ruled was legit. And a recent video on TikTok shows that the new bail-ins may have already begun.
I'm Bank of America and everybody's missing money. I'm also missing money over $1,300, and they're telling me to call customer service. And they keep hanging up on people. This another person here is also missing money. So we're trying to see what's going on. Money's missing today, and we need our money. And they're already telling us to call customer service, and customer service ain't doing nothing about it. So just a heads up, if anybody's experiencing this, please let us know, because this is not right. I'm missing $1,400 from my account, and they're telling me that there's no way they can help us. This guy's missing money too. This other person is missing money too. And you missing money too? There you go. So this is not something that's just one person. This is everybody's happening to them. And this is crazy. This is very crazy. Yes, Bank of America decided to take people's money without their consent. And And we're asking what's going on, and they're giving us a runaround. Everybody for the same thing, man. Same thing.
Reporting for InfoWars, this is Greg Reese.
I mean, your money is about to disappear. And guess what? You voted for it. You voted for it. We told y'all if Joe got in, it was going to hurt so bad. Y'all niggas said we was conspiracy theorists and we was Trump-loving motherfuckers. And you know the usual spiel. You know what I'm saying? And look at us. We hurt so bad. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Meanwhile, they trying to lock Trump up for classified documents. He was actually a president. And then you got the new president that stole classified documents before he was the president. I mean, I'm going to put it like this. A vice president has as much right to a classified document in his personal possession as me or you. We got the same right to have classified documents as Vice President Biden at the time. That means we can't have them. Neither can he. He stole plenty of them, and turns out, as I theorized, the nigga was giving them bitches to China, nigga. Giving them the fuck to China. So not only did they find classified documents at the Penn Center, not only did they find classified documents at his D.C. office, not only did they find classified documents at his motherfucking residence, but they just found 6 more classified documents. But when you ask Joe Biden to fucking, you know what I'm saying, to respond to this shit, he get mad at you and shit. What? Don't talk to me. Why are you talking to me? I'm the president. You know what I'm saying? Like real dumbass shit. You know what I'm saying? 6 more classified documents discovered at Biden's house. This is the 4th set of documents that's been found, folks. The 4th set. You know what I'm saying? Also found were notes from Biden's time as the senator, as well as his tenure as vice president, according to a statement from Biden attorney Bob Bauer, which strategically leads with "We've fully cooperated." Ooh, we've fully cooperated. The Department of Justice found 6 items consisting of documents with classification marks during Friday's search of the president's home in Wilmington, Delaware, according to a Saturday statement by the president's personal lawyer. Also found were notes from Biden's time as a senator, as well as his tenure as vice president, according to the statements from Biden's attorney, Bob Bauer, which strategically leads with "We've fully cooperated." Did you? You fully cooperated with who? So many questions. The search lasted from 9:45 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. Friday, during which members of the Biden's personal legal team were present, along with members from the Office of the White House Counsel, according to the statement. The DOJ also took materials for further review. The new documents mark the latest development in the scandal involving classified documents found at 9 authorized locations used by Biden. The first batch of papers were discovered early November, the days before the midterm elections, at the Biden Penn Center. More documents were marked classified and were found at his Delaware home in December. And then earlier this month, an additional batch of papers were found at the home. You mean Yossi Gessner? In a 12-plus hour search of Biden house, the feds found classified documents, including from his time in the Senate. What is he doing with classified documents in the Senate? Docs were found despite the White House saying that they turned over all the documents weeks ago. No video photos of the feds, local PD standing around as done to Donald Trump. The Justice Department didn't immediately respond to the request for comment. Department or officials earlier considered having the FBI monitor a search of the Biden's lawyers' classified documents at the home, but decided against it. I wonder why. Y'all didn't decide against it for fucking, Donald Trump. He was the president. You know what I'm saying? Both to avoid complicating later stages of the investigation, and because Mr. Biden attorney had quickly turned over the first batch and were cooperating, the Journal reported. Trump would have cooperated too, and he declassified the documents and shit. Some law enforcement officials had discussed the possibility of asking Mr. Biden's team to consent to having the FBI search the property themselves. Officials didn't immediately take the step, in part to preserve their freedom to take a tougher line later, including by executing a search warrant. The Journal reported instead the two sides agreed Mr. Biden's personal attorney would inspect the home, notify the Justice Department as soon as they identified any other potential classified records, and arrange for law enforcement authorities to take them, said the Wall Street Journal. So Biden's personal attorneys searched the house themselves, and they turned everything over to the DOJ, and yet more were found. When Trump lawyer did that, he was raided by the FBI. Zero Hedge on Twitter. It's time to start focusing on where Biden did not drop confidential documents. DOJ officials searched Biden's home on Friday for over 12 hours. DOJ took another 6 items, including documents from Biden's home. You see the double standard? So even if you don't like Trump, don't you think that everybody should be treated the same when it comes to law? And you can say no, and that's okay, because I know some of y'all slow, and that's cool. But in a just world, everybody would get the same treatment. It's kind of like how black people say the white man is oppressing them or holding them down. You know? It's kind of like that. Biden snaps at reporter for asking questions about classified documents. Look, we shouldn't be talking about these classified documents. Look. Folks, look, folks. That's the end of the press conference.
Straight up, are you telling me or not, President Biden? Here's the question. President Biden was questioned again about the unsecured classified documents stored in a D.C. office and at his Wilmington, Delaware home. But instead of giving the American public a straight answer, the president seemed to scold reporters for even asking. Watch this.
I will answer the question, but here's the deal. You know, what quite frankly bugs me is that we have a serious problem here. The American people don't quite understand why you don't ask me questions about that. Hang on, okay? Look, as we found...
Yo, Gavin Newsom back there smiling hard as shit. He like...
were filed in the wrong
he
place.
like, yo, this nigga...
There's nothing there. I have no regrets.
That could be or couldn't be Gavin Newsom in the back.
Told me they want me to do.
Well, the Secret Service, meanwhile, telling Fox it does have a list of names of who visited the president's beach home. The agency says it is prepared to hand those names over should Congress ask. But the White House still insisting there is no formal visitor log. Okay, joining me now for the Hot Topics all morning long, pollster and Miss Lansky and partners President Lee Carter and Michael Lee, strategy founder Michael Lee. Guys, good morning to both of you. And Lee, still the lack of communication, I think, in Washington is interesting here between the White House and the Secret Service. That's number one. But what do you make of President Biden and that image of him just blowing off reporters and basically telling them, how dare you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the contrast between him and the treatment of him in all of this and President Trump when he was going through his mishandling of documents is really astounding. I think a lot of people are looking at this and thinking it's a very political move. I think Biden needs to address it head on. He doesn't need to be annoyed by it. Everybody has a right to be questioning what is this all about. He does get very impatient when he's questioned, and I don't think that helps him in these moments. Ultimately, I think when we're looking at these kinds of situations that aren't directly impacting the American people who hate Biden are looking at this as fuel for the fire. I think people who support him aren't going to change their minds. And I think everybody in between is like, enough is enough. Can you just do something to help the economy? I don't want to see all of this. But I really don't think that Biden's handling of this is helping him at all.
Well, yesterday he talked about how great small business is doing. And we know that's not really the case, but we'll get to that later on in the show. And also, Mike Lee, I said this yesterday, it's just sloppy. This all just appears to be sloppy. And look, I know that we're less than 2 years away from an election, but we are less than 2 years away from an election. And these are the things that voters are going to have to consider.
Well, I tend to be in the camp that the timing of this is extraordinarily convenient, and it's something the Justice Department knew about before the midterms. And, I think from what I hear is that there's an overclassification problem in Washington, D.C., and these documents could be nothing. These documents could be a threat to national security. We don't know anything about it. But Joe Biden's response, I think, sums up him and his administration perfectly. It's arrogance, contempt for the American people, and combined with some incompetence and a complete and total disconnect from what's actually happening in the real world. How can President Donald J. Trump have his home raided by scores of FBI agents where they're looking through his wife's underwear drawer, where the classified documents were in a SCIF, Secured Compartmental Information Facility or something, whatever that acronym stands for. But President Trump was receiving classified briefings in that facility shortly after he got elected. He is the ultimate declassifier. He didn't, the raid, in my opinion, and from what I've heard, was totally and completely illegal because it's impossible for him to be in possession of classified information that he's not allowed to, whereas Joe Biden, they just let his lawyers go through it and we'll just take your word for it. So it's, this sort of hypocrisy, I think, bothers everyone, whether you're a Biden supporter or a Trump supporter. And for Joe Biden to say, leave me alone, it's not my fault, and even if it is my fault, it's not a big deal, go focus on something else. It's that contempt for people just asking basic questions they're entitled to, I think is a perfect summation of him as a president.
And look, this is all going to be explored in Washington in the coming weeks with hearings, obviously, from now a GOP-led House lead. But at the same time, we were showing those images of Hunter Biden in the Corvette.
Yeah.
With, the two women were digitized out, as you know. But look, he's in the Corvette. That's the same garage where the documents were. So did Hunter Biden have access? Did he? I mean, there's reports, unconfirmed. Some of the documents had to do with Ukraine. We don't know. We don't know.
We don't know. Lots of questions. I think a lot of people are concerned about it. I look at this and I think, too, the language that's being used to cover this, if you think about how they're talking about Joe Biden's, it's mishandling, it's not theft. You're talking about a few documents. They're talking about documents with classified markings. They're minimizing a lot of what it is. When you're talking about Donald Trump, it was he stole them. There's a raid on his house. There's thousands and hundreds of documents, and they're classified documents with classified information. They're the same situation described totally different, which makes people perceive it in a very different way. And I think in some ways that's irresponsible.
Yeah, no, we're going to be talking.
Absolutely irresponsible. But y'all know how that shit goes. It's not about responsibility to them. They don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? They care about, destroying their opponents, their political opponents and shit. And it is what it is. And, I mean, obviously you can bitch about it if you want to. You can definitely put in some work, and bitch about it. But, I mean, it is what it is. Ain't nobody going to listen to us. Until it's time to listen to us. Now, all the shit that we said, Joe's been hiding, been doing, everybody seeing for themselves, and now it's just, it's Joe. Well, turns out Biden classified documents were sent to D.C. Chinatown facility before his think tank. A report. Let's do it.
And we begin this Sunday morning with breaking news on the new classified documents seized from Joe Biden's home Friday in a 12-hour search by DOJ officials, and a disturbing new turn in Biden's document scandal. New reports this morning indicate some of the documents were placed at yet another temporary address, this time in D.C.'s Chinatown neighborhood, before traveling to the Penn Biden think tank in D.C., which, of course, paid Biden $900,000 after the think tank accepted donations, millions, from China. Also, the Daily Mail is reporting that the packing up of the documents at the tail end of Biden's vice presidency were overseen by an aide recommended by first son Hunter Biden. We do not know what she knew about the classified documents. Kathy Chung was ultimately reporting. We do not know if she was ultimately reporting back to the Chinese Communist Party. Joining me right now with more on the committee's work following these new discoveries is House Oversight and Reform Chairman, Congressman James Comer. Mr. Chairman, it's good to have you this morning. Thanks for being here.
Good morning.
Your reaction to these new discoveries, what do we know about the links between Joe Biden and Communist China in terms of the money paid to the Biden family? Has that dictated the way he treats our number one adversary?
Look, I think most Americans would be shocked if they saw how many connections the Biden family has to people directly affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party. It's very startling. And with respect to the documents, Maria, I took the president at his word when the first set of documents were found at the Biden Center for Diplomacy that he had just inadvertently misplaced those documents. But now this has gone from just simply being irresponsible to downright scary. This has all the patterns of an influence peddling scheme, and it also has the makings of a potential cover-up. I mean, 5 different locations at least. Who knows what those personal attorneys have been doing? And when you look at all the things that our investigation is covering with respect to the influence peddling, there's a lot of connections with the CCP directly to both Hunter Biden, Hunter Biden's Uncle Jim, and Joe Biden.
And Joe Biden.
This is just stunning and clearly has put America in a dangerous position. We know that the CCP wants to overtake the United States as the #1 superpower. Can you give us assurances that you're going to get to the bottom of this? We know that they are already stonewalling. They sent a letter to you and your colleagues, Jim Jordan, saying this is an active investigation. We're not going to answer any of your questions. How will you get to the bottom of it?
Well, fortunately for me, with the influence peddling investigation, we have a lot of people that worked with Hunter Biden that we've been meeting with for many months now. I don't think that's any secret. And, there are a lot of terms that these people say the Bidens use, like plausible deniability. That's a term that Uncle Jim Biden uses a lot. And then when you see that there are documents, classified documents, just casually left around in different locations, it's very concerning. I mean, you see the complexity of this influence peddling scheme that the family's been doing for years and years and years. And then we learned Joe Biden, some of those documents were from his time as a U.S. Senator. I mean, when Joe Biden was a U.S. Senator in 1977, he worked with Republicans to thwart Jimmy Carter's nominee for the CIA director because he had inadvertently taken classified documents home. So when Joe Biden says he has no regrets, I mean, this is very concerning here. We need to know who had access to those documents because this is an ongoing investigation for influence peddling, and the evidence continues to build that this family has not only profited off the Biden family name, but also that our national security could be at risk.
Because of the Biden family name.
We're disappointed that the administration's not working with us on anything. They're stonewalling everything. They're going to try to use the general counsel as an excuse not to provide us information. But fortunately, there are plenty of other sources, and hopefully those bank records will be able to answer a lot of questions that we have.
150 suspicious activity reports as money was transferred to several different accounts that were run by Hunter Biden, as we know from the evidence on the laptop. If they stonewall you, will you hold them in contempt?
We'll do everything we can to get the answers. And you mentioned those bank records. The amazing thing that we've been able to determine thus far is how many different transactions into different accounts and how many different LLCs that Hunter Biden had that he was doing, quote, consulting work for other people who were getting $1 million payments directly from the CCP into their account. I mean, this isn't the most complex investigation on the planet. Investigating Hunter, the Biden family is about like tracking a bleeding bear through a snowstorm. I mean, there's evidence everywhere that would point out that this family has been involved in the influence peddling scheme for decades. And this is very concerning. And I think that the American people are getting a taste of this with the fact that these documents were strowed in so many different locations. Does anyone believe that those classified documents, when they left the vice president's office, they just took them to multiple locations all over the East Coast?
Yeah.
And it has the appearance that someone would have taken them and moved them around. I mean, this is very concerning. Hopefully the Secret Service is going to work with us. We're requesting tomorrow formally any type of correspondence, any type of emails, any type of documentation that would help us determine who actually had access to those documents. And hopefully the Secret Service will work with us, despite the fact that this White House is not.
So just to be clear, you are sending letters tomorrow morning, formal letters to the Secret Service to request information on who had information about those documents. And we just showed a picture of the diamond, 3.2 carat diamond that Hunter Biden accepted from Chinese officials. This we know from the laptop. We know that there are ways to hide wealth in diamonds because you don't have to put it in a will. You don't have to pay taxes. You just give it to somebody else. He accepted this diamond. What powers are left to combat this?
Look, we know a lot more about the diamond than I need to talk about right now. That diamond was given to Hunter at about the time these documents were being transported to different locations. It's very concerning. Two ways the Chinese try to launder money into the United States.
Diamonds,
through
gold,
the art world and through
crypto.
diamonds.
Yep.
Do you see a connection here, Maria? I mean, this is very concerning. And I think the good thing for our investigation with respect to how the mainstream media is covering this, the mainstream media can sit there and look at Jean-Pierre and tell that she's not being truthful with the American people. They had that Ian Sams come up yesterday and had a press conference, and he talked about everything but the fact that they had found additional documents. Why didn't he say that at that press conference? He has no credibility. The White House isn't being truthful with the American people. We need to know now who had access to those documents because our national security could be at risk.
Well, is this treason?
Treason.
It's very concerning. We're not going to let up. I think that we've got plenty of information to move forward. This would be a lot easier if the White House would work with us.
Okay.
But not only are they stonewalling our investigation, they're constantly, if you watch that press conference with the Ian Sams, who's the guy they brought in to fight back against the investigators, which is preposterous because this is the oversight committee. We're supposed to provide oversight to the federal government and the executive branch. It's nothing but slurs. They need to work with us. The American people can see through this. The media is starting to see, CNN, CBS, other mainstream media outlets. They need to work with us to get answers because, again, our national security could be at risk.
You mean? Christy, I'm about to go into it a little bit more, how China is buying up all our farmland and shit, along with Bill Gates.
South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem taking action to protect her residents from foreign adversaries by banning government contracts with China, Iran, North Korea, Russia, Cuba, and Venezuela. Governor Kristi Noem joins us now. Governor, tell us about this executive order and why you did it.
Well, these are evil governments that hate the United States of America, and I want to make sure that South Dakotans are protected from doing any kind of business with them in telecommunications or state contracts. And we're bringing legislation that will prevent China from buying ag land in South Dakota, too. We saw the Communist Party try to buy up assets in other states, and that's not going to happen here in South Dakota.
Why are the Chinese trying to buy up American farmland?
Because they're trying to own this bitch.
They've been doing this for years, Rachel. They've been buying up our food supply chain. We've talked about the national security threats, the military.
They said they will own it by 2028.
Our IP, manipulating currency, but they've also been buying up our food processing systems, our manufacturing plants, our chemical and fertilizer companies. Now they're buying up our land. They want to control us. And there's 40 million acres in this country right now that's owned by foreign entities and foreign governments. We need to stop that before it becomes a real problem right here in South Dakota.
So you're banning companies associated with China. Does that mean you're banning the Biden family from South Dakota?
Yes, absolutely. Can I do that? Is there an executive order I can do on that? That'd be great.
But it's a serious issue. I mean, you're talking about how these deals, this elite capture by China and other governments, is affecting state policy and, of course, our own federal and foreign policy.
Oh, it absolutely is. The more people become normalized with doing business with China, the more they cave in to their demands, the more access they give to their personal information, their currencies, their financial information. I banned TikTok several months ago from all state devices and made it a crime if people did download it and access it because it was a real threat to our people. And we know that they're collecting data on United States citizens. So we should never forget that China wants to destroy the United States of America.
Exactly.
We've got a long-term plan for generations to do so, and that we need to do all we can to protect ourselves and make sure we stay strong.
And prevent that
well,
shit.
You're setting...
You already know. Thanks, Kristi Noem. I fucks with her extra fucking heavy. Tucker Carlson, Biden is done. Let's do it.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. If you're a normal person, it's a pretty weird experience watching Joe Biden's presidency get euthanized by his own party. On one hand, there's an undeniable thrill to it. You have to admit that. Biden is the most destructive president in American history. More things have broken under his watch than under any other president.
In
Joe
history.
Biden deserves to be driven from office and disgraced. But for this, breaking federal classification rules, some of the stupidest and most dishonest laws Congress has ever passed, it's like arresting El Chapo for expired plates. It's missing the point. But it looks like that's what's going to happen. It seems like every day one of Biden's lawyers shows up with more sheaves of classified documents, like a dog who's found another dead chipmunk under the house. This bunch was in his office at Penn, the one paid for by the Communist Party of China. These were found next to his sad little midlife crisis sports car in a garage in Delaware, and so on. You keep waiting for the White House physician to announce another document trove has been discovered after a routine colonoscopy. It could happen, because at this point you know exactly where this story is heading. Permanent Washington does not want Joe Biden to run for president again. This is how they're sending that message. Even CNN has decided to become interested in Joe Biden's misdeeds 2 years into his presidency. They're doing
How
segments on
convenient.
how classification laws protect this country from its mortal enemies like Russia. So you know for certain the order has gone out. Biden is done. What a missed opportunity this is. If you're looking for crimes that Joe Biden has committed, there is a very long list. Our country is being invaded. The world is on the brink of nuclear war. American cities have become slums. Our economy is in shambles. Even our airplanes no longer take off on time. It's a disaster, and Joe Biden and his staff have a hand in all of it. In a country with a functioning government, Joe Biden would have been impeached before the first million illegal aliens crossed over our southern border.
Exactly.
But no one did anything to stop it. So now they're arriving at the rate of 250,000 a month. Watch.
Customs and Border Protection sources exclusively tell Fox News more than 250,000 migrants were encountered at the border in the month of December, about as many people living in Scottsdale, Arizona, making it the highest month ever on record. In Eagle Pass, Texas, the migrant surge continues. Local Kinney County rancher Pam Schott had a harrowing experience with migrants on her property.
And I looked out the back and I could see
She grabbed the AR.
walking up to the house. I had gotten a gun, which is an AR-15. I asked them, I said, please, stop, go away. And had the gun in my hands, and they, just kind of looked at me and kind of smiled. And I was like, Otto, and just go away. And they refused to do so.
They're on the other side of the glass, trying
to get in
and not backing down.
Not backing down. Even though I have a high, powerful rifle in my arms, they are not backing down. That was scary.
Hi, my name is
Yeah, man, that was more than scary. That's your reality. That's what you voted for.
A rifle Joe Biden would like to take away from her.
Mhm.
So that's
why,
writ large, is the
as
biggest
well as
story
the
of our
invasion,
lifetimes. It is the
impending
one
invasion.
thing Joe Biden has done that cannot be undone. Our great-grandchildren are going to live with the consequences of this. But you never know it from watching most of the news. There's an effective media blackout on Joe Biden's immigration policies and on their downstream effects on America. There are too many strangers pouring in at once, and as a result, the country is becoming chaotic. Here's a rare television news piece on what happened when officials in New York decided to house some of Joe Biden's illegal aliens in a local hotel.
Oh, yeah.
An employee there says that migrants have made an absolute mess of the place. You're standing in front of it. Is that true?
Yeah, well, what we're hearing from that employee is that the hotel is completely overrun. He says, of course, some people just looking for that better life, but as a result, the hotel is a mess, and he fears for his safety.
We don't have any guests anymore. They sold the entire hotel from the 4th floor to the 28th floor. It's all migrants. So
I had this on last show.
People who are getting drunk, using marijuana. They are punching and beating their wives or their girlfriends. We have teenagers running around wild around the hotel, opening the fire exit doors and doing what teenagers do in the stairways, and it's a mess.
It's a mess, he said. Of course it is. The whole country is a mess.
So they fucking in the
because
stairway.
Joe Biden has ignored immigration laws passed by the Congress. That is a crime, and it has killed huge numbers of Americans, hundreds of thousands dead from narcotics.
Fentanyl has changed the entire game here in San Francisco. You can't buy heroin out here anymore. Nobody sells heroin and nobody uses heroin. Everybody has transitioned over to fentanyl. Fentanyl is the most dangerous drug to ever hit the streets of the United States in history.
Fentanyl
it's
has
all
killed more
China.
than 70,000 Americans in 12 months. Here in San Francisco, it's the dominant drug. It's responsible for 3/4 of drug overdoses, brazen drug dealing, and rampant drug use. In the shadow of City Hall, the same City Hall residents say actively enable the fentanyl crisis.
All of it, every gram, came over an open border. So what's notable as a political matter is that every one of these disasters, the fentanyl epidemic, the chaos and crime in our cities, the invasion underway through Texas, Arizona, and California, all of those deeply concern Americans. We're not guessing at that. Polls show it very clearly. By contrast, how many voters do you think are lying awake right now worrying that public officials might violate some obscure federal classification law? None. Not a single person. No one outside Washington cares or even understands the issue. And yet, it is classified documents, not our open borders, that the Justice Department is punishing Joe Biden for. Why is that? What's going on here? Well, it's simple. Washington is protecting itself. Joe Biden alone is responsible for this crime. He alone took home classified documents. He didn't have help in doing that. But allowing the country to be invaded, that's not something you can do by yourself. So if Biden were to be taken down for opening the southern border, a lot of other people would go with them. He had a lot of accomplices.
Kamala,
Permanent Washington doesn't want
fucking
that. And ultimately,
all the
here's
Democrats.
The point. Permanent Washington is in charge. It's not the democracy you imagine. We're seeing that now. So if you want to understand, if you really want to understand how the American government actually works at the highest levels, and if you want to know why they don't teach history anymore, one thing you should know is that the most popular president in American history was Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon. Yet somehow, without a single vote being cast by a single American voter, Richard Nixon was kicked out of office and replaced by the only unelected president in American history. So we went from the most popular president to a president nobody voted for.
Seems to happen
Wait a
often.
minute, you may ask. Why didn't I know that? Wasn't Richard Nixon a criminal? Wasn't he despised by all decent people? No, he wasn't. In fact, if any president could claim to be the people's choice, it was Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon was reelected in 1972 by the largest margin of the popular vote ever recorded before or since. Nixon got 17 million more votes than his opponent. Less than 2 years later, he was gone. He was forced to resign, and in his place, an obedient servant of the federal agencies called Gerald Ford took over the White House. How did that happen? Well, it's a long story, but here are the highlights, and they tell you a lot. Richard Nixon believed that elements in the federal bureaucracy were working to undermine the American system of government, and had been doing that for a long time. He often said that. He was absolutely right. On June 23, 1972, Nixon met with the then CIA Director Richard Helms at the White House. During the conversation, which thankfully was tape recorded, Nixon suggested he knew, quote, who shot John, meaning President John F. Kennedy. Nixon further implied that the CIA was directly involved in Kennedy's assassination, which we now know
Because Nixon
it was.
wasn't a
Helms'
Nixon
telling
actor or
response,
some shit.
Total silence. But for Nixon, it didn't matter because it was already over. 4 days before, on June 19th, the Washington Post had published the first of many stories about a break-in at the Watergate office.
Watergate, yeah.
Unbeknownst to Nixon and unreported by the Washington Post, 4 of the 5 burglars worked for the CIA. The first of many dishonest Watergate stories was written by a 29-year-old Metro reporter called Bob Woodward. Who exactly was Bob Woodward? Well, he wasn't a journalist. Bob Woodward had no background whatsoever in the news business. Instead, Bob Woodward came directly from the classified areas of the federal government.
Oh.
Shortly before Watergate, Woodward was a naval officer at the Pentagon. He had a top-secret clearance. He worked regularly with the intel agencies. At times, Woodward was even detailed to the Nixon White House, where he interacted with Richard Nixon's top aides. Soon after leaving the Navy, for reasons that have never been clear, Woodward was hired by the most powerful news outlet in Washington and assigned the biggest story in the country. And just to make it crystal clear what was actually happening, Woodward's main source for his Watergate series was
The CIA.
deputy director of the FBI, Mark Felt.
Wow.
And Mark Felt ran, and we're not making this up, the FBI's COINTELPRO program, which was designed to secretly discredit political actors the federal agencies wanted to destroy.
Wow.
People like Richard Nixon.
Goodness.
And at the same time, those same agencies were also working to take down Nixon's elected vice president, Spiro Agnew. In the fall of 1973, Agnew was indicted for tax evasion and forced to resign.
Wow.
His replacement was a colorless congressman from Grand Rapids called Gerald Ford. What was Ford's qualification for the job? Well, he had served on the Warren Commission, which absolved the CIA of responsibility for President Kennedy's murder. Nixon was strong-armed into accepting Gerald Ford by Democrats in Congress. Quote, "We gave Nixon no choice but Ford," Speaker of the House Carl Albert later boasted. 8 months later, Gerald Ford of the Warren Commission was the President of the United States. See how that works?
Mm-hmm.
So those are the facts, not speculation. All of that actually happened. None of it's secret. Most of it actually is on Wikipedia. But no mainstream news organization has ever told that story. It's so obvious, yet it's intentionally
That's
ignored.
the same shit that happened
And
to
as
Trump.
a result, permanent Washington remains in charge of our political system. Unelected lifers in the federal agencies make the biggest decisions in American government and crush anyone who tries to rein them in. And in the process, our democracy becomes a joke. Now, you may have noticed that the very first person in the Trump administration the agencies went after was General Michael Flynn.
Because he was part of the
Why
agency.
Flynn? Because Mike Flynn was a career Army intel officer who ran the Defense Intelligence Agency. In other words, Mike Flynn knew exactly how the system worked, and as a result, he was capable of fighting back. 4 days after Donald Trump's inauguration, the FBI lured Mike Flynn into a meeting without his lawyer, concocted a series of fake crimes, and forced him to resign. So that's how things actually work in Washington. Let's stop lying about it. Joe Biden, meanwhile, whooped like a hyena when the Justice Department destroyed Mike Flynn. So there is, we have to say, a certain perverse justice in watching something very similar happen to Joe Biden himself 6 years later. Joe Biden does not deserve our sympathy. He's being shafted, but don't weep for him. And yet the rest of us do deserve a better system, an actual democracy. When people nobody voted for run everything, you are not living in a free country.
Absolutely not. You already know. So in other political theater and shit, we got Nancy P, you know what I'm saying, doing some dumbass shit, you know, typical Nancy P shit. Nancy Pelosi held an exorcism at her San Francisco mansion to try to banish evil spirits. Bitch, unless you commit suicide, excuse me, the evil spirits is in the house. Former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, cannot get communion in San Francisco anymore, but that doesn't stop her from contacting men of the cloth in an attempt to rid her house of evil spirits. According to her daughter, Alexandria, over Thanksgiving, Pelosi had a priest coming, trying to have an exorcism of the house and having prayer service. Prayer service. The Democrat's daughter was discussing the attack on her father, Paul Pelosi, 82, during an interview in the New York Times where she mentioned the Catholic ritual for ridding demons from specific persons and spaces. In October, conspiracy theorist David DePappy, 42, broke into Pelosi's Bay Area home, authorities said. The suspect severely beat Paul with the hammer in an attack that shocked the political world. Remember, they was both in their drawers and shit. Funny shit. And why hasn't Eric Swalwell been charged with treason? Let's check it out. Chill. You know what? We was going to do it, but I'm looking at the time. Look at the time. You know what I'm saying? So, for a little bit of laughter on the way out and shit, Gutfeld. Single women and their cats mostly vote for Democrats. Sound familiar?
Welcome back. Single women and their cats mostly vote for Democrats. Yes, the 2022 election showed the rise of a new progressive voting bloc, the single woke female, defined as unmarried women without children, with woke meaning both very liberal and woke up alone next to some cat puke. So apparently this means Democrats are competing for the same customers as sweatpants.
Wow.
Oh, cancel me. Funny.
In the midterms, 68% of them voted for Democrats. The remaining 32% wrote, I love coconut water. Do you have any coconut water?
Coconut water. Yeah, that wasn't bad.
The group is much larger than it used to be, and not because they put on lockdown weight, Mike. Oh. The number of never married women reaching 30% last year. That's a lot. It's bad news for bridal shops and the birth rate, but it's good news for cat rescues and cheap Chardonnay, single-serving lean cuisines, Haagen-Dazs, and, of course, Lifetime television. It won't be changing anytime soon. Although 61% of single men said they were currently looking for dates, only 38% of single women said the same thing. Although that may have been a ruse to avoid requests from Jamie Lissau. But it does make sense that single women would stay single. Today, they can do anything a man can do, including having a penis. I don't like that. Kat, you are the female here. I don't consider you woke at all. Isn't it weird? It seems like these are the worst women for women because A, they deny sex differences, and B, they don't give any agency for women. So, like, women can't even consent to sex. It's like they can change their mind because they're always victimized or marginalized.
Yeah, like
they can't be
in the middle of fucking, he raped me.
There are some that are like that. I don't think
Bitch, you was just throwing that pussy at me.
I've also
like.
only been a married woman for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
And I'm 34.
Yeah.
So I was one of these people. I was like a unmarried, childless woman for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it could happen to anybody. I'm proof of that. These people are like, I'm not looking. I'm like, neither was I. It'll get you.
Yes. It's like a COVID strain.
It'll get you. You have no idea. But I think that not everybody who is a conservative is socially conservative and judgmental of non-traditional lifestyles. But a lot of people who are judgmental of non-traditional lifestyles
are conservative.
And I think that maybe some people can't see past those things, and you should focus on being a bit of a bigger tent and less on social issues. Democrats do it too, obviously. They gatekeep their own party too.
I don't know what she said, Jamie. I just worry about you because you this could hurt you because you need to find a woman to talk to in your garage.
Yeah, I don't believe this.
No.
Because I've been looking. And so I guess they're also liars. Seriously, I don't even feel qualified to talk. I've tried, you know me. I'm going to be single forever. I try. There's nowhere to go. You get farmersonly.com. There's only farmers.
Yes.
I can't go on Match.com. I'm not an arsonist. I can't go on. I just go screw it. I'm just going to get a sandwich. So I went on Grindr. I'm just glad I ordered the 6-inch.
The
it actually says. It says right here. I can't go on. I just go screw it. I'm just going to get a sandwich. So I went on Grindr.com. I'm just glad I ordered the 6-inch. It actually says. It says right here. That was good. Don't say that one. It's tough though. I feel bad for these women. I feel bad for myself. Dating after 40 is like moving without hiring professional movers. You know, there's dust everywhere. Things don't fit. All the boxes are dented.
I don't know what that means.
They ordered the big sub.
Tyrus, most of your fans are women who have been married for years.
Listen, I did my part. I gave 4 of them kids. I'm trying. There's only so much you can do, and there's only so many hours a day you can hide from your phone.
You took the heat off me.
I tried. I did my part, but at some point you got to throw your hands up. The problem for them is, like, here's the deal. Fellas, when we're in our 20s, we're like rabbits. When we're in our 30s, we become like lions. When we get in those 40s, we're like, yeah, I made it this far. We're focused on other things like building a new car or buying my first house with a garage or whatever it is. We no longer want to deal with the courtship. So the guys start focusing on other things. So then there's that group that were just, you know, how do I say this?
I'm scared.
Yeah. Too bitchy to go out with, so you just leave them to themselves. And then these poor cats get stuck with them. Because the cats don't want this kind of
highly recommend getting a cat as a single woman. I don't know if I'd be alive.
But the poor cats.
Good.
All the pressure they put on the cat. They give the cat voices.
I put a lot of pressure on my cat.
They put the cat on voices. They have the like. Here's the difference. A cat, as long as you're feeding them, they'll stay. But when you start finishing our sentences, we want to leave. And they, you know what I'm saying? When we have little nicknames and they want to dress us up and do all that kind of stuff, we want to get the hell out of town. The cat is like, as long as I'm being fed, they'll hang around. But as soon as you stop feeding them or you leave the window open, they're out.
Yeah. That's like Mike Baker. You leave the window open, he's gone.
I'm done. Yeah. So
he's a
in fact,
secret agent.
That's how I leave the Fox building.
Yeah, through an open window.
Just open the window.
Care to add anything uplifting about this? You're a happily married man.
I am.
You're on your 6th marriage, correct?
Yes. Yeah, me and Tony Randall and Larry King. No, I got all when it comes to talking about single woke women. I couldn't imagine being in the dating pool like Jamie. I couldn't imagine that, and I'm worried for you.
Find a hobby.
Yeah.
Find a hobby.
A hobby.
Yeah.
Yes.
At least
travel the world.
You could get your friends to help you raise a garage.
Wouldn't that be nice?
You should get a cat.
Yeah.
A lot of this is funny, but also feels bad inside.
All right, we got to move on.
Yeah, they funny as shit, man. That's all we got for this evening. Well, today, you know, I don't know when you're listening to it, but, you know, shout out to you for making it this far. Appreciate you supporting the show, man. Please continue to support the show on Cash App and PayPal, Mr. PI55, and be back on the other side. Close us out. Got a drop. Hot beat. Y'all know how I get down. Y'all know anybody looking for instrumentals, man, send them this way. You know what I'm saying? Water Drums Entertainment and shit. But War of the Drums Entertainment. But you already know, man. I'm going to check y'all out on the other side and shit. Don't move your motherfucking switch. It's your boy. Hey, Rudy. What happened after Joe's been hiding sick the FBI on you, man? Like, tell us about that shit. What the fuck they come there for?
By our count, Rudy Giuliani is at least the 3rd attorney to have his personal communications with former President Donald Trump seized by the Justice Department. Sense a theme here?
There was a big bang, bang, bang on the door. Don't you want thieves? Bang, bang, bang. And they said, no. There was a big bang, bang, bang. Those are Hunter Biden's hard drives. Bang, bang, bang. And they said, no. Don't you think you should take it? They said, no. The subpoena required them to take all electronics. They said, no. I feel sorry for that part of Hunter Biden. He says, I'm not an addict. We have a picture of him smoking a crack pipe and then saying that he's not an addict. Smash on my doors. No. In a frightening way. No. One last time I said, no. Don't you think you should take it? 6 o'clock in the morning, there was a big bang, bang, bang on the door. Don't you want thieves? Bang, bang, bang. And they said, no. There was a big bang, bang, bang. Those are Hunter Biden's hard drives. Bang, bang, bang. And they said, no. There is no justification for that warrant. It is an illegal, unconstitutional warrant.
Joe Biden says he didn't know that this trade was coming.
Maybe he doesn't remember. I'm not sure if he can retain anything. Smash on my doors. No. In a frightening way. No. One last time I said, no. Don't you think you should take it? 6 o'clock in the morning, there was a big bang, bang, bang on the door. Don't you want thieves? Bang, bang, bang. And they said, no. There was a big bang, bang, bang. Those are Hunter Biden's hard drives. Bang, bang, bang. And they said, no.
Yo, I want to say thanks for listening to the show, man. Thanks for coming through, hanging with your boy, man. Thanks for supporting us. I really appreciate it. Real rap. I know I don't probably sound like it all the time, but I really do, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all keep me going. If I could reach one person, that's a blessing. The fact that I could reach multiple people, that's definitely a blessing. You know what I mean? It's a gift. I really appreciate y'all, man. I hope y'all keep y'all head up. Hope y'all keep doing y'all thing, letting it hang and swing. I hope y'all stay positive. You know what I mean? Keep on moving into the future. You know what I mean? Like, don't take no for a fucking answer and shit. If it's something that you want to do out there, go do that shit. You know what I mean? Don't limit yourself. And don't let nobody limit you. Even though if you got a loved one that's like, oh, well, you got bills to pay, and that, like, fuck all that. You know what I'm saying? If you never live, you'll never live. You know what I'm saying? And going to work and going to sleep and taking care of your kids, that's not living. You know what I'm saying? That's part of living, but that's not living. Enjoy some time out. You know what I'm saying? Go have a drink with your friends. Go play some pool. You know what I'm saying? Travel. You know what I'm saying? Like, be somebody. Be out there and, you know what I mean? Be interested in shit. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate all y'all. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate everything y'all bring to the table. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate the fact that, you know, y'all got heads on y'all shoulders and y'all, you know what I mean? Y'all staying positive and y'all still doing y'all thing. That's real. It's crazy. You know, a lot of shit going on in the world. A lot of people don't want to accept the fact that it's going on. But, you know, just keep presenting them with the information. You know, I know how resistant some people can be. We talk about that in the book. I just look at how resistant my wife was, and then my coworkers. Like, everybody thought I was crazy and shit. And then look, turns out we were correct. Correct. Now, I'd rather be wrong in everyday life and be correct on this shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's been. Well, I've been right in everyday life as well. You know what I'm saying? I've been a good dad, you know, a good husband, you know what I'm saying? A good member of my family and shit. I'm trying to stay productive, and I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying, keep my mind occupied and do all those little things that I've been trying to do, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, it's not the easiest thing to accomplish, but, you know, you can accomplish a lot if you put your mind to it and shit, you know what I'm saying? Don't limit yourself to, you know, just being stagnated to one thing or just having one thing and shit, you know what I'm saying? Actually, you know, try to enjoy life. Try to enjoy the things that's going on and shit. Try to enjoy the little things, you know what I'm saying? And again, I know it's not the easiest thing to do, and I know it's not super sweet, but you could do it. You know what I mean? So continue to pray. Ask God for forgiveness of your sins. Ask him to, be with you. Ask him to bless other people. You know what I'm saying? Pray for your neighbor and shit. You know what I'm saying? When I say your neighbor, it could be literally your neighbor or someone that you care about. You know what I'm saying? That's, you know, close by and shit, man. You know, everybody need a couple prayers sent up for them. I appreciate your prayers and your words of encouragement. And I definitely appreciate your $5-10 every now and then and shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's real. You know. We have come a long way. We have seen a lot of shit. We have witnessed a lot of things. We have shared a lot of information. Civilian Talk Podcast is a tool for you to use to find out that information. You know what I mean? It's up to you to go in search of the information. If you don't search for it, you'll never find it. I can tell you anything, and you can just take it for what it is, or you can't. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people take it for what it is, because who would go through the process of finding all these stories and articles and then putting them up on the website where you can go fact check them, and then, you know what I'm saying, come up here and lie. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, everybody making millions and gazillions, everybody getting this big bread, and you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it kind of discourages us a little bit, you know what I mean? Because it's like, damn, yo, with all the information we provided, all the work we put in, you know what I mean? We still don't have a major sponsor, you know what I'm saying? And I know that shit don't come overnight, you know what I'm saying? And seriously, I really don't care too much to have one, but at the same time, it's like, everybody could use the paper and shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could use the paper, you know what I'm saying? And, it's only slowly but surely things are going to start developing, things are going to start getting on a good foot, and it's going to be a glorious thing, you know what I'm saying? Got a lot of other stuff going on in life, and I really appreciate the fact that a lot of people are, indulging in, the information spectrum that we currently sit in, you know what I'm saying? So that's pretty dope. That's pretty cool. A lot of people waking up, cartoonists, artists, everybody waking the fuck up, you know what I'm saying? And that's a great thing, because the more of us that wake up, the faster we can get this shit over with. And life could potentially have some type of normalcy, but we're about to see a giant kill off, and they knew that shit was going to happen. That's why they tried to get everybody to take the shot. That's why they hit you with the free shit, donuts, joints for jabs. They was trying to give you weed. They trying to give you drinks at the bar. They trying to give you shit at Hooters if you come in with your Vax Pass and all that shit. That's because they wanted you to take the poison, and it's extremely outrageous that all these people think they're going to get away with it scot-free. But we also know that they will try to destroy everything in order to get away with this shit scot-free. So just keep that shit in mind and understand that it's not a game out here, and we could be in really bad shape sooner or later. Hopefully, later than sooner, you know what I'm saying? And, I hope everybody, got what they need to get ready for what's to come, you know what I'm saying? And, truthfully, I just love y'all, man. I just want y'all to stay safe. I want y'all to keep y'all head up. I want y'all to keep grinding. Don't give up on what you believe in. And trust me, once you pop the cherry on waking the fuck up, it's a continuous process. You get closer to God. You start to understand yourself a little bit more. You actually start to have a lot more free time and shit. It's really like incredible and shit. You know what I'm saying? And in the meantime and in between time, just stay positive, keep your head up, you know what I mean? Don't let nobody discourage you, and, keep your ear to the ground. There's a lot of shit going on. I'm pretty sure y'all just heard about that shit that happened with Bank of America and shit. I just had it on this show. I had it on the previous show, where motherfuckers is missing money, you mean? And y'all just heard the banker tell y'all about to be bailed in. They about to take your money and keep it. So, it is what it is, man. Like, you can, we can sit here and play games and fake moves and shit, but at the end of the day, it's not a game. It's not a game. And I hope and pray that y'all don't get caught in the wash and shit, but it's a good possibility you will. Because of the lack of accountability and responsibility to inform yourself. And, I just pray that the opposite happens, that you just find out everything and you get over the shock of it and you just start running in the right direction and shit, you know what I'm saying? Just run toward God. You know what I mean? Run toward God, and everything else will kind of figure itself out and shit, you know what I'm saying? And, yeah, man. Yeah, man. Well, until next time, you know what I'm saying? I fucking love y'all. And once again, thanks for listening and supporting the show. And it's your boy, Mr. P. I'll bring you that civilian talk. Please wake up, American news, because if we don't wake up today, we may not have an America to wake up to tomorrow. Tomorrow, have nothing. Tomorrow is really sooner than you think. I just came up with that. That was pretty good. But, yeah, man, until next time, keep your head up, keep doing your thing, letting it hang and swing and shit, stay positive, you know what I mean? Pray for your neighbor, pray for yourself, ask God for forgiveness of your sins, try to be a better person than you was yesterday, tomorrow, try to be a better person tomorrow than you were yesterday, and, keep your fucking head up, dog, and we gonna do the same. And once again, thank you so much, and really appreciate your time. So, it's your boy.
Today's episode was brought to you by Civilian Talk Radio.
CivilianTalkPodcast.com. CivilianTalkPodcast.com. Take your ass over to CivilianTalkPodcast.com. Word on the street section. It's going to open your eyes to a whole new world of shit, bro. Trust me. So, y'all just going to raid my man Trump like that?
I went down. Somebody gotta do it. They coming for your rights, can you pay attention? Hey, now you see the ones protected by the system. Hey, they raided Trump's house, why they ain't raided Clinton's? And for this of Hunter Biden, but he ain't in prison. Took the justice system, but they want you to forget. Cause your eyes, Epstein Island, why they hide the list? Ignore Clinton body count like it don't exist. Obey or they gon' ruin you if you don't submit. It's so crazy, they let liberals get away with murder. Did we forget Hillary's emails? They wiped the server. Joe and Hunter don't talk business, huh? They some liars. Why did Joe meet Bobby Ulinsky about his deals in China? Hey, who the big guy? Who getting 10%? So much money to Ukraine, how much have we spent? In a recession, never mind, cause they changed what it meant. And they mess with little kids, but you still on the fence. Hey, be ready for war, cause they won't smoke with we the people. I guess smoking crack is cool, but doing mean tweets is illegal. And they persecute Alex Jones, but you think justice is equal. And this country is ran by demons, it's time to destroy evil. They're coming for your rights, can you pay attention? Hey, now you see the ones protected by the system. Hey, they raided Trump's house, why they ain't raided Clinton's? And for this of Hunter Biden, but he ain't in prison. Took the justice system, but they want you to forget. Cause your eyes, Epstein Island, why they hide the list? Ignore Clinton body count like it don't exist. Obey or they gon' ruin you if you don't submit.
Hey, the cleans catching bodies out here hitting licks. Biden fist bumping the Saudis, we ain't innocent. We see Hunter on the laptop getting intimate, but they coming after we the people and it's imminent. What's up with that raid, huh? You think we afraid, huh? You declaring war and we all ready to crusade, huh? We were made for war and they ain't ready for that fade, huh? Every single snowflake gonna melt when we invade, huh? We want that list and we want every single name. Every single person on it needs to be defamed. Then get the gasoline and get them ready for the flame. But no, you'd rather raid the 45th and point the blame. Bunch of suckers.
They coming for your rights, can you pay attention? Hey, now you see the ones protected by the system. Hey, they raided Trump's house, why they ain't raided Clinton's? And for this of Hunter Biden, but he ain't in prison. Took the justice system, but they want you to forget. Cause your eyes, Epstein Island, why they hide the list? Ignore Clinton body count like it don't exist. Obey or they gon' ruin you if you don't submit.